most sound ideal upon which our country was founded. You are responsible for setting the framework for the success in your life, and let no one stop you in your effort to get it done. People like our parents, our friends, and those around us should help and encourage us to do what is right in our lives. But the final decision in the end will come from each and every one of us. And if you choose to dedicate your life to drinking and drugs and all the things that does not encounter greatness, you are not likely to get a good job. You are not likely to start a business. You are likely to lead a dependency on welfare and not set a better example for everybody else. No one is responsible for what happens in your life. If you become successfully wealthy or financially stable, it is most likely because you decided to get the best education, you decided to work hard enough, and you took seriously that fundamental truth that America is the land of opportunity. If you become poor or less fortunate, it is most likely because you didn't get the best education and because you didn't work as hard or long as you could or should have. You should ask yourself, would you rather lead a life of dependency on welfare, not have a good education and get a good job, and lead a future of hardship, uncertainty, and failure? Or use your God-given ability to lead the best, most successful life upon your capacity? If I can choose to stand before you today as an author and motivational speaker, then I believe in the ability of each one of you to do what is right and take responsibility. If each of us can take responsibility for our success, and we can finally lead to the beginning of a new American exceptionalism and make our nation great again. As we assume full responsibility for our lives, so must we work as hard as we can to be successful. To truly be successful in our lives, each of us must realize that no other person, you belong to no specific group or label or class, but each and every one of yourselves. No matter who you are, and no matter where you come from, you can be as successful as you would like to be in your life, as long as you strive for it and work for it. And if you belong to a family that is less fortunate and poorer than others, nothing or nobody is in your way of truly exemplifying your ability and effort to lead a new beginning for your life in the years ahead of your life. If you are an African American or Latino, no one is in your way of answering the call of destiny. In our young lives, no one is stopping us from reading and studying and writing books, earning scholarships to top universities, and speaking to such large audiences like all of you here today. People tell me all the time that, oh, Marcus, I could never write a book. I could never speak in front of a lot of people. I could never do this or do that. But the truth is, each and every one of you can do far greater things than that alone. You can develop the next iPod or iPad or even write a book. You can develop the next use of communication that will bring the world together. You can do that. And this should be the top priority in our lives and not the things that do us no good in the long term. You can do whatever you put your mind to. The greatness of America rests upon the imaginations and ingenuity of ordinary people like you and me. And our future depends on it. Our exceptionalism depends on it because we live in one of the only nations in the entire world that allows for ordinary people to exemplify their efforts and talents and skills. And this should be our top priority, consistent with a successful education and future. If each and every one of us here today can work hard and dedicate our lives to education and the things that do us best, then we can finally make America the most exceptional, most advanced, and most productive nation in the world again. The last thing we must do is uphold the sacred principle of personal integrity. For those of you who do not know what integrity means doing what you know in your heart is right, regardless of how others will react to your decision. For example, if your friends invite you to a party Saturday night, the popular thing to do will be to go to the party, have fun with your friends, and please them. But you have a test to study for on Monday. So the right thing would be to do is stay at home, study for that test, and make the highest, most possible score that you can make. If your desire is to be successful in your life, then there is nothing that no one else can do to stop you. 10, 20, and 30 years from now, where will those people be? Will they be where you are? Probably not. And you shouldn't have to follow all of those who are doing things that are wrong and popular. Most of the things in the world that are popular are the very things that are destroying our lives and our society as a whole. Activities such as drinking and drugs and violence and alcoholism are popular because not very many have the judgment or the courage to step up to the plate and stand firm and do the right thing. Abraham Lincoln once said, "Plant your feet in the right place and then stand firm." I believe in the ability of each one of you to stand firm and do what is right in your life. Because if I can stand before you as a person who doesn't smoke, does not drink, does not take part in violent activity, then each and every one of you can do it too. Each of you can. Integrity is probably the most basic, most sound ideal upon which this nation was founded. And each of us can renew the ability within ourselves and the faith and the strength to do the right thing and turn this society around. These are the basic ideals and principles upon which this nation was established. Every time we hear about the founding of our country, we hear about things such as capitalism and democracy and freedom and equality. But responsibility, hard work, and integrity are what allow these principles to fully shape our country. When people work hard and take responsibility for their success and do what is right, they are likely to be successful enough to live as free and prosperous as they please. If you get an education, you can be able to get the best jobs and get the best businesses and be as successful and wealthy as you want. This should be our top priority. This alone. And there are always those who really haven't seen it this way. There are always those who believe that our system of free enterprise is somewhat limited to a specific group of individuals. And they believe that our crises is doomed to an inevitable decline, meaning that it's never going to end. Well, the life of a teenager from inner city Chicago tells us that a future of hope and prosperity is possible. He was born on October 24th, 1993 to Nathan Augustine and Dawn Johnson, to a lower middle class family in the projects in inner city Chicago. He would nibble on peanut butter crackers and barbecue chips every chance he got. His mother would have to drag him every morning to get to the school bus. But soon he finally realized the importance of education and high levels of achievement. In 5th grade, he won first place in the geography tournament. On January 19, 2006, he won first place in the 6th grade spelling bee and would go on to win first place in the school spelling bee as well. Just 5 months later, his life would change forever. He was moved out of the big city, away from his friends and relatives, into a small rural community in central Louisiana. This was the worst experience of his entire life, but definitely not the end of it. He became an honor roll student and won first place in the social studies fair. On March 1st, 2008, he gave his life to Jesus Christ. Just a few months later, he published his first book. Just a month after that, he became the Vols Parish 4-H parliamentarian. A few months after that, he won first place in the district speech rally and became the first person ever from a Vols high school to do that, and second place at state. In July of 2010, he wrote his second book, and it was published in February of 2011. He now aspires to be a successful lawyer, professor, business owner, and someday the president. In the midst of all these successes, from a person who was bullied every day of his life, he is now greatly admired by many of those around him, and nothing is more important in his life than to be extremely successful. That same African American, the son of Nathan Augustine and Dawn Johnson, presides at a Vols High before each and every one of you here today. This is the America that I know. This is the America that I have lived in and experienced in the short span of 17 years. This is our opportunity to reaffirm those exceptional, greatest ideals upon which America was established. Now is the time to get the best education. Now is the time to abandon the things that do us no good in the long term. And now is the time to value everything in this country that brings prosperity and success and happiness in each of our lives. That is what America must become again. As I close, I ask each of you to stand firm in the values of hard work, individual responsibility, and personal integrity. For today must begin the dawn of a new society, the rebirth of American values, and the renaissance of American exceptionalism. It begins with you and your efforts and your hard work to live the best, most successful life that you can. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Here, that's it. And turn it off.